Well, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you all here. I hope you're here for the reason I am, which we're going to cover on we're going to talk a little bit about DeVry University and how we're leveraging Salesforce. And specifically, we're going to spend some time talking about the E1E license journey that we're on. Anyway, my name's Chris Campbell. I serve as the CIO at DeVry University. I've been in that chair for about 6 years. I have responsibilities for the technology front to back, all the way from student learning to administration of the university. In addition to that, the CISO, our CISO and the information security and data privacy team report up to me. And finally, probably one of my more interesting jobs is the university-wide project management office reports up to me, which gives me a center seat to the strategic implementation of the university's priorities and strategies. So, with that, Salesforce asked me to spend a little bit of time today just talking about how DeVry University thinks about it, thinks about our partnership with Salesforce, and some of the interesting work that we've been doing. So, also just a logistical, I will be at the back of the room when we're done for questions, conversation, whatever. They asked me not to run the Q&A here on this stage. So anyway, so we're going to move along here. I got to give you a little bit of information about DeVry University. Who are we? We are a university that deals with 3 brands. We have 3 brands: DeVry University, which is our undergraduate. We have Keller University, which is our postgraduate or MBA school. And then finally, we have DeVry Works, which is our B2B space. It's where we do corporate partnerships, et cetera. So, the thing to understand about DeVry is that we have a particular way we think about our student and the learner at our university. First, we have our DeVry Care Formula, which is really an amalgamation of culture, technology, process, et cetera, that provides the data necessary, synthesizes that, and works to amplify our advisors and our faculty members' interactions with the students. We have a focus on the whole student. We consider all aspects of the student. In many cases, our students look to us as their first support mechanism for higher ed. They likely don't have a support network at home. And we take that to heart. We make sure that we provide innovative student engagement through communities and, frankly, through mental health support tools, which are greatly appreciated by our students. We have student-centered calendars, right? We work on an 8-week cycle. Let's see, what else is interesting? Almost all of the education that we deliver at DeVry University is stackable. You can walk the trail all the way from your first course, credentials, all the way up through an associate's, through to your bachelor, additional certificates, working into your MBA or your master's, and then we have master's level certificates as well. The only thing we don't really do is doctoral work. So, and then finally, we are a digital-first university. The stat I like to use is 100% of our students take online courses. A small percentage of our courses will go to some of our campuses for specific use cases or for their support models. But on the whole, we are digital first foot forward. That's important. It means that everything we think about has starts and stops with how we service and how we create that community for an experience that's sometimes lonely, right? Sometimes not as engaging. And so we work hard on those things. So one last thing on DeVry University. So we've been around for about 93 years, long time. We have been many different things in many different situations, and we have continued to transform and innovate, providing education solutions for learners and businesses, as I said, for 93 years. Great story. Early days, our founder invented the portable video player the reel-to-reel one. You all remember those from like most of our parents, I guess, but the 8mm deals? Well, the gentleman invented those, sold it to the Army for all of their training materials, interesting, or the military, I should say, not just the Army, the military, and then realized that those stupid projectors were breaking all the time and nobody could fix them. So they created curricula to train these people, to create a whole ecosystem. How interesting. And went from projectors to TVs, radios, electronics in general. Very fascinating, and then have evolved with the time. So to put some context into this slide, in 2000, about in the middle of the chart, there's a star on there. In 2000, we offered the very first online degree, the very first degree that you could get wholly online, right? And then in 2005, I was reminded today, in 2005, we deployed our first Salesforce organization. So our first organization goes back a few years and plays into all the things that we thought about as we continue our partnership with Salesforce. So, DeVry University, Einstein 1 for education. We were coming up on our renewal, and Salesforce brought this opportunity to us. And they said, hey, we have this new licensing model that we're putting in place that's basically, not exactly, but it's a single SKU for a whole lot of products to wrap how we use Salesforce and the ecosystem in support of our learners. So we thought, well, that was pretty interesting, and we started looking at it. And I won't get it all right, but it includes all kinds of things. Digital engagement, it includes the core, it includes data cloud, includes what we need to get started with Agentforce, all kinds of things. And we were already a user of much of this product. So the interesting thing for us was the new Education Cloud vertical that they had recently released had a lot of synergies with how we had Salesforce deployed at our organization. And so as we just started looking at it, it just started making more and more sense. As I spent time with our stakeholders talking about the opportunities this could bring us, very, very powerful, lots of opportunities, more opportunities than we can probably get done in the next couple of years, but we're gonna try. But anyway, so for us, the important or the key items on this was data cloud, right? So data cloud is key, and how do we activate the data we need to service our students? We already do a lot of that, but I'm here to tell you it's a big lift. It takes a lot of work to integrate a lot of disparate systems through third-party integration engines and et cetera, getting data to the right place in a timely fashion so that you can provide interventions for students when they need them, not in 2 or 3 days. So data cloud's key for us and was one of the things that really, really sparked the interest, I would say. Agentforce also, we're very interested in Agentforce. We think there's a lot of opportunity with it, and we are actually about to launch our very first Agentforce bot in support of our e-commerce solution that we're standing up. So very cool. And so far, so good, right? So looking good. We have a laundry list of opportunities we're going to consider. We're going through the regular processes. I think one of the things I'd like to make sure everybody understands is that none of this is done in isolation. IT is not doing anything by itself. We have a strong network of stakeholders and solution partners, both internal and external to the university. I'd love nothing more than to talk to folks like yourself and see what interesting you're doing, because it may find purchase in what we're doing. And vice versa, we'd love to share with you where we're seeing success, et cetera. So I should have started off saying that. Nothing's in isolation. It takes partnership. It takes the provost. It takes our chief experience officer. It takes our chief enrollment officer. It takes all of us working together to figure out the right ways to do this. And then the last piece was Education Cloud. It is very interesting, both the current capabilities, the capabilities that are a bit more nascent but are on the roadmap, and then even the future state. Super interesting. A university like DeVry University, our processes are a little different. We think about the world a little bit differently in how we run things. And sometimes you deploy, like we deployed our SIS, I don't remember when we launched, 2009, 10, something like that. And when we deployed Banner as our SIS, we realized that while we needed it, we don't really use all of it. And so it's interesting to us to watch how Salesforce is maturing that. And that was one of the other things that got our attention. But what I'd like to do is, we're new on the journey, we're making progress, and we've been doing things in a different way. And now with the tools that we have at our disposal, we're approaching them a little bit differently, I would say more efficiently and effectively. So one of the things I want to talk about is a particular use case that we pursued around using Data Cloud to enable Marketing Cloud to improve our course sits and our persistence session to session and success in the course. Very, very interesting. So we knew, and by the way, we've been doing this for a little while. We've been doing it what I would call the hard way. We get data out of one system, and we swivel our chair around, and we upload that data into Marketing Cloud, and in the middle, we do validations and data validations and make sure the list is right and all of that. We put it in Marketing Cloud. We have some very complex journeys built in Marketing Cloud to go off and do stuff. So we have some experience. We know how, right? And so what was interesting is what difference could we make with Data Cloud? In our initial solution, we spent, this thing is around new student prep. And its goals are primarily to ensure the student is prepared to start an online education when they start. And we know, as a fact, that if we can get the students to do a couple of things before their first day, they're more likely to show up, they're more likely to persist, they're more likely to have course success. And we know this, I mean, the data is strong, it's undeniable. And so what we looked at was that journey and said, can we improve it? Can we improve it because maybe we can get the data faster and get to the student sooner? Can we improve it by just removing efficiency from our improving efficiency for our operations team? Can we even partner with, we partner with marketing for the post-enrollment journey. They help us on the Marketing Cloud side. So can I improve their efficiency as well? Because, I really would rather them look for more students. So that's what we do. So in this particular scenario, we call it new student prep. We know that if a student will do one or more of a new student orientation, attend a Zoom session, and learn about what they're about to undergo, learn about the university, learn about the logistics, learn about how courses are delivered, et cetera. If they will join a student community, if they will join the DeVry student community that we partner with somebody else, but we have a student community where they are providing each other a support system much farther beyond anything that we can do, advisor to student or faculty to student. These are students that are reacting to things like a new student enrolls and they're like, oh, I don't know how I can do this. I just had a kid, or I've got too much work. How in the world can I do this? And those students, the other students, will just pile on. You can do this. You've got this. It's some of the most motivational stuff I've ever read. But we know if we can get you in there as a student and to participate, high likelihood of success. You're also building your future network, by the way. And then the last thing is we know if we get you to log into the learning management system and explore your first course and orient yourself, even a day before, but ideally a couple of days before, but even a day before, makes a dramatic improvement, huge improvement. I didn't bring all the exact numbers, but I can tell you it's impressive. So when we first built that journey, it took us months to get the data where we needed it, months. We lit this up with Data Cloud, much faster. We now have integrations with Zoom, integrations with Canvas, and integrations with our course preview. Now, to be clear, we actually aggregate that data into a data lake first. and then we bring it into Data Cloud. However, the next phase for us is going to be going direct to vendor and bringing it in because of the templates and capabilities of Data Cloud to bring that quickly. We're like everybody else, we're just kind of getting our feet wet. We're learning how it all works, what the credit system is, what the economics are, et cetera. But I am very pleased to tell you that we deployed this thing 2 sessions ago, and we're already seeing significant improvement in students showing up, in sitting. We already know it's working. Is it because we deployed new tech for the same problem? No. It's because we improved the data, we improved the access, and we reworked with our operations team, et cetera. We reworked the journey and the messaging and all of that. So it was a total solution. But we have seen improvements, and we do know the efficiency is much better, right? You do it in Data Cloud. Once you identify the segments, once you get that square, once you QA at one time, now you're just using it, right? It's not this constant process every 8 weeks, every time we're sitting in a new class and having to go through that effort. Next, the next thing I talked a little bit about is Agentforce. So we are using Agentforce. We are about to go live with our very first one. And it's in the area of supporting an e-commerce solution where we're offering continued learning courses to students. And the goal here was to deploy Commerce Cloud, not part of E1E, just to be clear. I promised Joni. Not part of E1E, but we used Commerce Cloud, and we connected Commerce Cloud to our LMS. We integrated it into our ecosystem, right, like you would expect. And then we deployed an agent for help on the e-commerce side, helping you make a purchase, right? Simple. FAQs, what do you get, what do you not? Is this accredited? How does it work? All of that. And it's literally the front door. We don't have a large set of colleagues that are watching this e-commerce storefront for orders. Our expectation is that it will work generally to support most 90% or more of those purchases. It deals with FAQs, service case management, questions about your order, and we're integrating more tightly with the LMS as we go, but we can already see in Commerce Cloud if you completed a course in the LMS. We can see this. So we're already headed down that road. Very interesting. Very cool. Anyway, it is next, we will be adding more knowledge into Data Cloud. Now, I think they call them knowledge objects, and we'll be adding that into Data Cloud, which will allow this bot or agent to consume more data to understand. Simple things like, I couldn't get it to work, how do I connect to the help desk? And here's the resolution of that ticket. Or, gee, I would love to get some faculty interaction here, or a study group, or a something. Maybe we could do something like that. So all future state items, things that we're thinking about. Can we use Agentforce for them? Yes. We also partner with, we're probably like all of you, we're also partnering with other AI platforms and trying and doing interesting things. So more about that later. If you're interested, though, really cool things we're doing with a bot in the classroom. Very cool. And I think we'll be speaking with a partner, or at least participating with a partner at ASU GSV coming up this April. And so if you're there, stop by. We'd love to tell you about it. Very, very exciting. Let's see, what else about the Agentforce? We have a laundry list of use cases. Our stakeholder group's got all these great ideas on ways that we can use the Agentforce platform. We're testing, learning our way in. We're working to prioritize those now. More to come. I fully expect we'll leverage them heavily in our, likely in our alumni services, likely in our career services, although I don't know exactly how just yet. We will also certainly use them to help our advisors and faculty members. So, in the back of my mind, and I don't know, like, I think last year I spoke on our digital care engine, which is, again, an amalgamation of technology that provides interventions for students predictively based on risk scores, et cetera. There's a concept here that Agentforce could be the next iteration of that thing, right? Because now we do all of that in a different way. All right, finally, Education Cloud. The thing that was interesting, there's a few things about Education Cloud that are interesting. I already spoke to it. The data model that Salesforce has put forward for their vertical Education Cloud is powerful. It is well thought out, and it happens to match how we do business. There's work to do. It's not going to be simple. I've been told by my Salesforce team it will take more than 3 weeks. I don't understand. But but we are working through that and looking for opportunities to roll it out. One of the most interesting things, though, beyond the data model is the care plans. Care plans, which we think will help extend the digital care engine I told you about earlier. It's the idea of identifying a segment of students that need a particular set of help, and we know there's commonalities. And so the way to bake I think of it as, let me create a plan of care for a student that shows up and identifies as this. Maybe it is this group of students really need to use research paper, check-in and review before they submit it for their final score. Great. It would be great to identify those students, add them to a care plan, and then we as a university do not have to worry overly that they're getting provided that intervention. And oh, by the way, we're telling the faculty members that they got that intervention and suggested it, and we're telling the advisors that we've suggested it. So as that community of care, or what we call the DeVry Care Formula, comes together, it's all funneled through that, right? So for us, the care plan, I think, is key and is a great capability. And I don't even think we've completely thought through the ways we can use it. And I did have a conversation with the product team from Salesforce, and their indication was it's an extension beyond what they were thinking, right? We were thinking about how to do it automated at scale, right? They were thinking about how to do it with their admissions office, right? Working through the CRM. But more to come on that. I'm super excited about that. Appointment scheduling was something that caught our attention, but for us, it's just really the replacement of one technology for another. Allows me to consolidate, not as big a deal. The alumni community things that we're seeing in Education Cloud that they're building, very interesting. Very interesting. We use a third-party application today. Yeah, it's okay. But there's a lot more that we could do there. We know as DeVry University, our business model leaves our alumni untapped as a resource for the university and our students. There's a significant focus for us right now. We already farm some mentoring relationships, et cetera, another feature that we've seen in Education Cloud. And so we believe that tying alumni community and some of these other things together, we can have a very robust alumni community in the ecosystem. The mentoring I mentioned there already, alumni, I think affinity groups, any of those kind of things, managing through that. I mentioned earlier about the EDU data model. Really, the way I think about it, and when I put on my IT hat, is it's our technical debt reduction machine. It's what allows us over time to adopt standard workflows for processes that we built customized a decade ago and align them to this data model that's in place that gives us the opportunity to customize less and focus on transformative work. Focus on the things we believe will move the needle, right? Earlier in a session today, we were talking about our connection to the LMS and how we might be able to show in Commerce Cloud more about their learning experience because maybe for our B2B customers, that's their primary interface. Excellent. We would much rather be working on novel solutions, different things, than automating a workflow that is, everybody in higher ed does it that way. Right? So to us, super interesting. And then the last thing I will note, we're supremely interested and thoughtful and watching the the SIS roadmap. And I know that Salesforce talked a lot about that this time at this conference. I think there's a real opportunity there also to transform how you're doing work, consolidate your technology stack, drive efficiency through the university, and all of these things, you've got Data Cloud in the middle providing visibility and actionability off of the data that you have in these disparate systems. So, and then of course, I can't not say that the, Data Cloud is what empowers your Agentforce. Agentforce has some cool capabilities to consume data not in Salesforce and consume unstructured data and all of those things, powerful tools, but you still need something in the middle. And for us, I believe that's going to be Data Cloud. So that is what I had to chat about today. Thank you all very much.